So it seems we have a deal with Britain, right? Everything is good. Trade wars are over. Not even close. And that's what I want to focus on. You can't accept things at face value. First place, there is no agreement. This goes back to that terminology, concepts of a plan that President Trump had said in the debate with Kamala Harris. That's where we're at now. It's like we're negotiating. For example, are you looking to buy a Rolls-Royce? If not, the fact that the taxes or, the tariff, not taxes, went down from 27.5% to 10% doesn't really affect your life. Not to mention that we're only talking 2% in total of the imports that the US deals with. So it doesn't mean much. And that's what my concern is. I remember during the first Trump administration, one day I was watching the news and I saw all those Republicans and Trump standing in the Rose Garden saying they got rid of Obamacare. And I was like, what? I don't understand how this was done. This is complex. How could they have done this legally so easily? This is before his obsession with executive orders. And I was so confused. I see him talking and we're going to get rid of Obamacare and everything else. And I realized the only thing they did was they were able to get, go the next step forward, basically present the resolution to the House and, move on to the Senate, etc. So they didn't do anything. This is the same person who has said he's completed the wall, which he has not. This is the same person who stood in front of the wall, which, by the way, Mexico is going to pay for. Has anybody seen that check? It might be lost in the mail with the dose check. I'll look into that. I'll do a full blown investigation on that one. But he said, look, I'm building the wall. Here it is. I'm proof. I'm standing behind the wall. No, he wasn't. He was fixing a part of the wall that was broken or needed to be fixed, whatever the issue was, that was set up and built, at least that section, by George W. Bush. So when they come to you and say, we've got a deal, this is a deal, and there's no other way of me doing this. That's when we have a deal. Other than that, you have concepts of a deal. You have a deal in theory, but it's not until it's in writing. And the reason I stress this is because people could get confused and say, things are back on track, right? I can go buy that TV now. No, you can't, because first place, it deals with Britain. And this is a deal that we need to fix with China. So whatever we fixed with Rolls Royces in Britain has nothing to do with the new TV that you want to buy or the computer. But let's go a step further. This isn't done from one day to the next. And the only comparison I can think of is in divorce cases, you call up the lawyer, hey, we got this case, right? This is like we're almost done. Oh yeah, we're done. Do we have to go to mediation? Yeah, let's just go to mediation, hash out a few more things, and we'll be done. You literally go to mediation with 80, 90% done. We got custody taken care of. We got the house taken care of. We resolved the debt issues. And then everyone's reviewing the agreement, and then it's, oh no, we forgot to put this in there. And then you mediator goes back to the other room and tells opposing sides, counsel, this wasn't added. And so, oh, wait, that changes things financially. Yeah, we're okay. Take off paragraph 2. We don't agree to that because we didn't realize this. And then all of a sudden they go back and say, hey, they're deleting paragraph 2. And you're like, they delete that, then you got to delete this. In the case that you were at 80, 90% done, all of a sudden that last 10% takes 8 hours. Now, it's great, right? Great for lawyers. It's easy money, but that's the reality of the situation. You weren't there. And there's a lot of times where tempers flare, and then all of a sudden, everybody walks out the door. And once they walk out, you're herding cats. They're not coming back in. And yet we were almost there. Now, this is just your standard divorce case, right? What about something as complex that affects global trade, that affects the global economy? You think we're going to do 100 deals in 100 days? We've done no deals in, I don't even know how long Peter Navarro has been saying that one. Are we close to 60 yet? 0 deals. Because saying that we agree to sit down and hopefully hash out a deal is not a deal. It's a negotiation. That's all it is. You have not bought that car until you sign on the dotted line and they gave you the keys and you drove off. And even then, sometimes they call you back and say there was an issue. Come back, we need the car back. So concepts of a plan, An agreement to get into, hopefully, an agreement is not an agreement. The dotted line, right? That's way before my time, but that's a term we still use. Nobody signed on a dotted line. Dotted line, you know why, right? For those of you younger ones, couldn't make a straight line, so you had the little dots to sign on. Sign with an X too. But that's where I don't want misinformation. Just like when I saw that Obamacare was, I was like, how is that even possible? Just to find out it was not. So that's my concern. You have to be informed. I've said this over and over and over again. You have to be informed. So if you read there's a deal, you can't jump to the conclusion and regurgitate that to all your friends and go, "So there's a deal." No, there's not. There's the beginning of a deal, just like in a divorce case and mediation, where you're almost there, but you know why you're at mediation? Because you still haven't reached that deal. There was a deal. This gets signed without mediation. The lawyers send each other copies. They sign it, notarize it with their clients, and we're done. And that's not what's happening here. We've maybe drafted. By the way, we didn't draft any. Nothing's been drafted yet. It's just certain points that they say, okay, we'll lower the taxes on this. Like the Rolls-Royce that I'm not shopping for, and probably neither are you. So this means absolutely nothing to us. But that's the problem. It's misinformation, and then by the time it gets to online, it becomes disinformation. And so the only thing I can tell you as I smack my microphone here is do your research, and if you see that there's a deal, then look into the concepts. What was done? What is on paper? What was signed? The answer is nothing. And so if we're talking a general 2-year turnaround, well, if it's 2 years, what's going to happen for the next 2 years? If this takes 2 years to resolve these issues with China, the economy has already collapsed. A great recession will look like Disney World, So be informed, be prepared. Don't believe, especially, I could care less if you're a Trump supporter or not. The fact is he lies. This is more than documented. So I'm not even going to get into that issue. But the same way you don't believe when a non-Trump supporter tells you something, you should take the same approach when the Trump administration says we have a deal, and we really do not. If you fall for it, it's your money. You're the one getting into debt. These tariffs could be anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000 more a year in debt. Do some quick math. 4 times 4 is 16,000. Add some interest in there. You're close to 20,000, if not more, in debt in 4 years, just because you weren't paying attention. All right. So there's no deal. Be prepared, because I'm concerned that next month, where what day is it today? Today is May 10th. My concern is if nothing changes come June, you're going to see some big changes financially. We're seeing ships come in half empty. That's fine. Walmart has their inventory. They've been stockpiling, etc. But what happens in June? See, because when people start realizing something's going to change, and soon financially, they start stockpiling too. So it would wipe out those shelves. So unless a major deal, and I know Trump said today the tariffs should go down to 80%. How generous of him. It's still way too high. It's still ridiculous. And just because he said it doesn't mean he's going to do it. We know this already. Um, you know, he's caving in basically because rumors are, or not rumors, has been reported that President Xi hasn't picked up the phone to call him. So as the country sets into panic in the next couple of weeks, again, look at your financial situation and make your decision from there. We got July 4th coming. Guess where fireworks come from? Um, Barbecues are expensive. Maybe you'll have 5 people over instead of 20. But these are the little adjustments we all have to make to be prepared for anything. My personal situation is I'm concerned with FEMA gone and insurance companies in Florida being what they're being, and having gone through this issue with insurance companies before, that they don't want to pay and then they say the damages are not what they are. I'm actually getting an appraisal done on my property next week. Don't want to pay for one, but it is the right thing to do so that I can be prepared financially. Everybody's situation is different. Analyze your situation and take it from there. All right. Any questions or comments? If you're interested in buying a Rolls-Royce, that's great news for you. For the rest of us, buckle up, be informed, and be prepared.